Have you been wanting to start using Instagram to really take your business to the next level, but you've been looking for a scheduling tool that will allow you to schedule content onto the platform, either to free up more time in your schedule or to allow you to do things like create special little patterns in your posts and get really dialed in on representing your brand just right? Well, if that's what you've been looking for, you're in the perfect place. I'm Adrienne with Build a Life by Design, and today I'm going to walk you through a review of 4 different platforms, and I'm actually going to do a full screen share showing you the functionality of each platform, what they offer, what benefits they have compared to each other, and even load up posts on each one so you can see how they actually work so that you can decide which one is right for you. If helpful tips like this about how to better use social media, how to get more leads and more sales is something that you've been looking to learn how to do, be sure to subscribe because that's exactly what I cover on this channel. In the description, I'll drop links to all 4 of the tools that I'm reviewing today, as well as to a resource that will help you to really take your Instagram game to the next level. It'll help you to jump to 10,000 followers fast, and it will show you every strategy you can use, from posts to stories to cross collaborations, to really blow things out of the water with your Instagram game. So be sure to stick around to the end for that and to check out the links in the description. But in the meantime, the 4 apps that I'm going to be reviewing for you today are RECUR POST, Planoly, TAILWInd, and Later. So let's jump into what they look like. At the end, I'll describe which one is ideal depending on the situation you have going on, how many followers you have, and how in-depth you want to get versus how hands-off you want to be. So let's jump right into it. All right, so let's start by taking a look at RECUR POST. And I want to start with this one because I think it's probably the most different of all of them and the most unique of all of them. So what you're currently looking at is my schedule. So you can see I have an alternating pattern in terms of what's scheduled to go out onto Instagram here. So I like my Instagram posts to come out with a little pattern, if you will. And so, I know lots of people do that. So that's why you can see clearly I have this alternating pattern. But it's very plain looking, right? There's really not much to see here. You can't see the feed of what the Instagram feed is going to look like. You literally just see the alternating topics. So on the surface, it may seem like RECUR POST is not as appealing, but it is very unique in that it is an evergreen platform. Meaning once you load up some posts and some content, you tell it how often you want it to post it. In this case, each column is a day. So I'll scroll up, you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. So you can see that every other day for 6 out of 7 days of the week, I have content scheduled. And the 7th day I don't, because I want to keep this pattern of every other, right? And that only works with even numbers. So you can see it's very plain looking, but here's the magic. If I go to my content library, you'll see what makes RECUR POST so different. You can see I have libraries upon libraries of different content topics. Each of these is aligned to either a part of my personal brand or to a piece of content that one of the groups that I manage wants to see, things like that. What's great about these libraries is that you set them up once and they will just continue to post content on autopilot. And once they get to the end of everything they've posted, they'll just cycle through and post them again. So you can see here's my Instagram business inspiration and mindset topics. So you'll see it's a bunch of like inspirational quotes and stuff, right? And I can scroll down and see that there's quite a few in this library. You'll see that I have 76 of them. If I click on action, I can pause the library. I can shuffle them so that they're in a totally different order. I can make different variations, delete certain variations. I can delete all of them if I want to start fresh. But as you can see, if I'm only posting 3 of these a week and I have 76 of them, I have enough content to last me for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. And this is one of those platforms you set it and forget it. So to be honest, I have loaded up a lot of content that I feed to various social groups and pages and platforms. I set this up about a year ago. I hit play and I walked away. I'm never having to sit down and plan the week, right? I hit play and I walked away quite literally. So what this is great for, if you're really busy and you don't have time to manage multiple social profiles, RECUR Post is wonderful. Now, the other thing that I really like about it, it does more than just Instagram. So of course, this tutorial is focused on Instagram, and yes, it will post to Instagram, but it also posts to LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So if we go back to the schedule, you'll see that for Instagram, I keep it pretty simple, and I just have one post a day in this alternating pattern. The one piece that's not necessarily so great about it, that I'm not a fan of, is that you cannot specifically schedule anything to go out in a story. You can do it in a roundabout way. So for example, I could create a new library that I title Stories, and I could schedule, let's say every morning I want a story to come out at 8 a.m. I could schedule images to post at 8 a.m. And when I get the prompt from RECUR Post that it's time to schedule, I can simply choose story instead of choosing feed. So you can do it in a roundabout way, but there's no visual. There's no visual you can look at to say, oh, that looks pretty. I like how this looks. There's nothing like that. The other slight drawback is that it won't auto post. It will prompt you to post. So you'll get like, it'll sound like a text message on your phone, but when you look, it'll actually be a message from RECUR Post saying it's time to post. And when you open it up, it will essentially copy your content for you, get your photo ready for you. All you have to do is hit the post button, but you're still having to interact with it, right? So it's set it and forget it, except for hitting that post button when it prompts you to hit post. So let's upload a post update to RECUR Post so you can see how this works. So we're just going to hit add an update, and you can see you can drag and drop media. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to drag in some media, and while that's grabbing that, I will copy my content and paste it in here. Now, one of the downfalls about RECUR Post is that because it's an auto poster and it's truly a set it and forget it, you are not able to tell it to put the hashtags in the first comment, so they just need to either go in the body, which is a choice, or you can manually add them to the comments if that's what you would like to do. So you can see now that the text is here, and when I scroll down, it's loaded up the image. And so now we'll click Add to Library. There it is. That's the content that we just added. And because it's at the top, it'll be the next one to post. There is no planning out your week. Planning out your week means, you know, coming in here and just changing the order of things. But that's about it. Versus the others, you know, it's more of like dragging onto a calendar. But if you're really busy, RECUR Post is probably best for you. But I'm going to leave that as the top post because I'm also going to schedule that as an update in each of the other platforms. So let's take a look at how this same process would work for Planoly. So now you are looking at the Planoly dashboard, and as you can see, this is far more visual, beautiful, easy to navigate, right? And so you can see clearly all of my visual images and the post pattern I have on the left, and then the calendar of how I have these posts scheduled to go out on the right. So for any one of these posts, I can click on it and it will pull up a zoomed in version of the post. I can look at the copy that I've written in. I can adjust the time. I can click to auto post, and it will actually auto post if you have a business profile. You can't do it on personal profiles, only business profiles, okay? You won't get a notification that it's time to post and you'll have to hit post like on RECUR Post. It will literally auto post. It'll be completely invisible to you. One of the other things I love about Planoly is that right down here where it says comment, you can choose to put your hashtags in the first comment. So that's a really nice feature that I think is quite nice. And so you can see it's really easy to work with here. You can even kind of do some cropping. You can tag the location. You can tag users. There's some different things you can do here. So it's really nice. It's easy. It's very intuitive. Of course, it's very visual. So I can either click on the post here to see it, or over on the calendar here, if I click on any one of these scheduled time slots, it will also pull up the post that's scheduled for that slot, and you can edit it that way too. So whether you're clicking on the visual or whether you're clicking on the calendar, it's super easy to modify the posts and prepare the posts. Now here's what I love about Planoly that RECUR Post frankly can't even touch, is along the top left, of course you can set up hashtag bundles, you can add to the grid, which is what I've already done, and here's this stories button on the far left. So when I click that, it switches me to story view. And you can see along the left here in the view pane, I have a series of story posts scheduled already, right? And basically what I do each morning, every morning, I send out 3 story posts right away in the morning. And you can see they talk about free training of the day as the first image. The second image shows what that free training is. And the third image explains how to get it. Click the link in my bio to get it. Now that's because I don't have 10,000 followers yet, okay? So that's just one of the little hacks of how you can drive people towards your bio link if you want them to be clicking there. So every morning I have a series of 3 stories scheduled. So, and you can kind of see how they play out on the calendar here on the right. So same thing, if I click on it, it will show me a view of it. If I do want to put notes or captions, I can do that. I've chosen not to because I just want to keep it clean and simple. But also if I click over here on the calendar, again, it will pull up the story that way as well. And you can see all 3 of them here. I can cycle through the stories for that day, right? So it's super nice that this gives you a really nice visual right next to a calendar for both the stories and the grid view. So this is very user-friendly, very easy to navigate, and does allow you to handle both posts and stories. Planoly also has a feature that allows you to add clickable links to your posts. It's called Shop Link. So in the upper right-hand corner, you can see Shop Link. And when you click on that, it will give you basically a little video tutorial describing how you can embed clickable, shoppable links into your posts themselves. Someone clicks on the bio link and it brings them to this version where everything is clickable and will drive right to the website that you want to get sales on. So that's another great feature for Planoly. So if we grab the new content and simply drag it in, very similar to RECUR Post, it'll pop in right here. And then when I click it to open it, I'm going to click on comment, and I'm going to put the hashtags in that first comment. And then I'm going to go back and grab the text for the actual post and paste it in here. So there we go. We have the image, we have the text. Of course, you can add a schedule date here. You can click to automatically post if you don't want to receive a prompt and you want it to go automatic. You can also click to make it go to Facebook, of course, if you want. Let's add a location. I could tag someone if I wanted to. In this case, I won't. I'm not going to crop it because it looks great the way it is. And I'm just going to, let's just say that it'll go out on the 13th. My network is active, always around 8:30. So that was easy. Let's do the same thing on TAILWInd. So now you're looking at TAILWInd. And again, similar, these are all similar but different, okay? So you can see along the left, here they have more of like a preparation area where you can drag and drop content, you can prepare the post, and then once it's prepared and scheduled, it shows up here on the right. So you can see they do have a little preview of how the images are gonna load up. You can see that they're the exact same images that we saw on Planoly, but they're just a lot smaller here. So yes, you get the visual, but it is smaller. And then in more of a vertically scrolling design, we have the calendar where you can see, you can kind of do a visual scan of where the posts are falling by day. They do limit you, I'm on the free version so that I could give you guys this demo. They do limit you to how many posts you can make when you're on the free version. And I believe Planoly did the same thing as well. If I click on scheduled up here in the upper left, I'll see all my scheduled posts. I can't edit it here once it's scheduled without clicking back to draft. So Tailwind it takes a little bit longer to kind of learn how to navigate their menus. It's not quite as intuitive, but I do want to show you what it looks like when you're in there. I moved it back to drafts so that I could open it up and show you guys what that looks like. So now on drafts, I can see the image. I can take the location. Here's my text. And then here's all the hashtags. And one thing that's kind of neat, you can see they're color coded. They will show you which ones are good, which ones are best, which ones are highly competitive, and what's maybe like a really narrow niche that you're using them, but not many other people are. So you can see that the way that this loads up, everything is more of like a vertical scrolling style inside of Tailwind. And so another feature I like is you can hit saved hashtags, and it will, if you've created a list like I have, you can just click this and it will automatically pull in all of them to your post. And this one also, you can choose to put them in the first comment rather than the main body if that's your preference. One other nice little feature about Tailwind is you can actually click this little box here and send the same post to Pinterest. So it allows you to cross post between Instagram and Pinterest. All right, so assuming that we've made some edits here, we can hit add to queue, and that will add it to the scheduled section, where then you'll see when I come back over here, it kind of, it shows this lock symbol, meaning they're locked. You have to kick them back to draft if you want to edit them, but you can at least see what it says, of course, right? What I'm going to need to do is go over to the draft section to create a draft. Then I'm going to drag in my content. So there it is, and remember everything here is kind of on a scrolling vertical. So we'll add a location. We'll add the caption. In this case, I have saved hashtags, so I'll just click those and it'll bring them in. I'm going to click to put them in the first comment. If I want to, I can click to amplify with Pinterest. So I'll set a custom time for the 13th, around 8:30, because that's when my network is active. And this one, it's nice, you can choose literally down to the minute. So if I don't want it to be at perfect intervals, I can choose 8:26. Let's do that. And schedule it. So now it shows up in the scheduled section. And over here on the right, you can see in the small preview here that it popped up there as well. And if I scroll down, you'll see that it's down here as well. So not quite as visual, not quite as intuitive, but it does have all of the features that you need. So now let's take a look at later.com. Later.com, I would say, is a little bit more similar in layout to Planoly. I'm sure you're noticing that right away. Again, it has the kind of a library of images here on the left, not necessarily in order. Now, I do want to call that out because I'll show you later where you can see a real preview. This is just all of the images that I downloaded in to be able to use, not necessarily in order. Now you can kind of see little pictures of them on the calendar here on the right where they've been scheduled out. If I want to see what it's actually going to look like in the Instagram feed, along the top here, just above the calendar, I'm looking at the monthly view. You can see there's also weekly view, if that's your preference. And when I scroll down and scroll over, you can see that weekly view, if that's your preference. And then if you hit preview, it actually shows you like a render of a phone and what it will look like when someone is looking at their mobile phone. And it kind of has this, rundown of all the different dates and times. So again, very nice from a visual perspective, very easy to take in and work with. Now, one of the things that I love about Later, obviously it has a lot of the same benefits as Planoly. The layout's very similar. It is very intuitive. But what's unique about it is that once you drag and drop this content in, rather than just living on a visual of what your feed will look like and kind of being stuck there, they do actually go into a media library. So this panel that you're looking at here on the left is a visual depiction of everything in the library. Now I only have a couple images here because I only loaded up a couple so that I could do a demo for you. But if you had a rather large library, if I click on that, you could grow a very large library and you can actually assign them different labels if you would like to. So for example, I could click on this and I added the label business inspiration and mindset. So very similar to RECUR Post, you can actually create content libraries in a way that you can use over and over. So it's not just post it once and it's done. You can continue to post it more than once. So let's say I shared this image of myself in August, maybe I share it again in I don't know, December. No one's going to remember that I shared it in August, right? So there's no harm in reusing things from time to time. So that can save you a lot of trouble. You're not constantly creating, you can reuse things a little bit, just like RECUR Post. Although RECUR Post is different because it will automatically pull out of the library for me. With Later, it's a drag and drop type thing. So you do have to manually come in here and plan out your week. So it's not quite as hands-off as RECUR Post, but it does have some evergreen type capability. So one of the things I want to point out about Later, you might see this little flashing star here by the stories element. In the free version, you cannot schedule stories, okay? When you click on this, you'll see that it tells you that you need to upgrade. If you're really just looking for a free version that does a nice job of visually showing you what your feed's going to look like, showing you, letting you drag and drop and, you know, plan out your month, Later is very, very similar to Planoly, but Planoly lets you plan out your stories for free and Later makes you pay. So that's one of the, you know, drawbacks of Later, in my opinion. Later has some features which I think are really neat and interesting. So just to call out this feature right here, link in bio, right? So of course you're well aware that on Instagram, you only get one link, just one in your bio. So you have to be really choosy what you put there, of course. In this case, link in bio, they have a really great video here that will kind of explain how it works. But essentially, you can put a special link in your bio that what it will essentially do is when they click the link, they'll see, almost like what's showing on this phone, they'll see an example of your feed. Except when they click on the photo, instead of going to the photo, it will go to whatever link you have chosen to assign to that photo. So if you're promoting a certain type of product in the photo, let's say in this photo of me and my friend Shira, let's say I was promoting, I don't know, skincare that we were using. When they would click on this photo, it would take them to the website that sells the skincare. Maybe in this one, you know, you're promoting a lipstick. When they click on it, it would take them to the website where they can get the lipstick. So it essentially, instead of only having one link on Instagram, you can have a link on every single post in Instagram. So they access it through your main link on your profile, but once they're inside, every single photo has a link embedded into it. So it's really, really neat. It really opens up the possibilities to do a lot of commerce, immediate shopping and buying directly from your link. And of course, when you upgrade to the version that allows you to post stories, I believe that's the version that also allows you to use the link in bio. So super helpful, right? All right, so same thing. I'm going to drag and drop the content. It popped in. So I'm going to go to the monthly view because that one I think is easier to just see things at a glance. So what I'm going to want to do is grab it and just drag it over here. And that will automatically create the post. So I'll paste in the language. I'll add a location. I could tag people if I wanted to, but again, I'm not going to do that. In this one, I do not see the option to add the hashtags to the first comment. They do have suggestions here as far as suggesting hashtags, but you have to upgrade to get that. So we'll just ignore that part. And so because I don't want to lose the hashtags, I will copy them and just paste them in here. Or of course, you could paste them into the comments yourself, but again, that makes it a little bit more manual. So we'll choose, again, 8:30. This only seems to have half-hour increments, so that's interesting. So we'll hit save. And boom, there it is. So you can see how that looks on later. So as you can see, all of these platforms offer some really great functionality, but they're all unique in some way. So here's what I would recommend depending on your situation. If you primarily use other platforms, maybe Facebook or Twitter, and you're just getting into Instagram, or if you simply don't have time to like pre-plan all of your social and put a lot of time into it, but you know it's important to get content out, when it comes to posting, you can set it and forget it and be very, very hands-off. So if time is an issue for you, RECUR Post is probably your best bet. But just keep in mind, you'll either need to post your stories manually or you'll need to load them up as if they're a post. And then when RECUR Post prompts you to put the post out that day, instead of selecting feed, just select story, okay? Hands off, people, RECUR Post is your jam. Now, if you are wanting to post both on your feed and in your stories, and you want auto posting, and you want it free, then Planoly is perfect for you. Now, Later has essentially all the same functionality as Planoly, but you can't do story posting until you move into a paid plan, okay? So that's why I recommend Planoly if you're just looking for something free, but Later if you're willing to pay. And here's why. Both Later and Planoly offer the ability for your link in bio to connect to a version of your feed that has clickable links on every single post, which is really cool. But when you look at the cost to get that feature across both platforms, you can get it more affordably on Later. But keep in mind, if your bio link is being used to link to this clickable type feed, it can't link anywhere else. But then once you have more than 10,000 followers on your stories, it opens up the swipe up feature. So you could have them swipe up to your blog or swipe up to your website or swipe up to your YouTube channel. And in that bio link, it can become the clickable feed, if that makes sense. So if you have less than 10,000 followers, I would recommend using Planoly paired with, in the bio link, use something called Linktree. Now what Linktree does is it allows you to, inside of that one link, offer multiple links to wherever you want, anywhere you want, not just feed links, but links to anywhere. It could be your website, it could be your blog, it could be your YouTube channel, whatever. And I would recommend Later if you're okay with a paid plan and or you have more than 10,000 followers. And then when it comes to Tailwind, honestly, it didn't offer anything unique or special that Planoly or RECUR Post or Later didn't already offer. And it wasn't as easy to learn. It was a little bit more futzy for me to get used to it. I had to practice a little bit more before I could film the screen sharing for you guys. It just wasn't as intuitive. It's also not as visual as Planoly and Later. So RECUR Post, even though it's not as visual, offers the set it and forget it. You can literally walk away. It goes on autopilot, so it's a huge time saver. So RECUR Post is really unique for that reason. Planoly and Later are really unique because they have that clickable feed option, right? Tailwind, I couldn't find anything super unique that any of the other platforms didn't offer. So honestly, I have a hard time recommending that one specifically or thinking of a situation where that one's going to be better for someone. So hope that was helpful, you guys. Be sure to grab the links in the description if you want to use any of these tools or if you want to learn how to take your Instagram game to the next level. So I'm Adrienne with Build a Life by Design. I help people to build six-figure incomes from home by leveraging passive income through online business. So if that's something you're looking to do, be sure to subscribe so that I can help you to do that. You can either click on the logo here to subscribe to my channel, or you can wait for the next video to queue up here, and I'll go ahead and see you in the next video.